Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Schwartz-Reichel. My career began in music education, where I learned the importance of a key change, a shift, in the tonal center of a piece of music, often used to inject energy or produce significance. Eventually, I realized the impact of making key changes in all areas of my life and the desire to help others do the same. Making key changes can be difficult. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I do like to pose questions for reflection and offer actionable key changes for us to attempt in both our working and living situations. Together, we can unlock our greatest potential in collaboration with those we love, serve, and lead. Let's discover how we can grow together by making key changes. In last week's episode, I spoke about interview preparation and the need to communicate your value in an interview. Much of what I shared was learned through experience. Interviews I didn't prepare well enough for, interviews where I was overly confident, and others where I allowed frustration or emotions to get the best of me. Through every interview, I have learned something. I've sat through interviews where I waited more than an hour before the first session even began, then waited again between different phases. During one of those experiences, I wished I had packed a snack, a protein boost, or even a piece of gum. I've rushed from a presentation directly into a panel interview without taking a moment to regroup. I was still riding the performance high, overheated, and stumbled through my first few answers. And on more than one occasion, I realized afterward that I hadn't prepared enough for the types of questions being asked or the language and vocabulary that would have strengthened my responses. Each experience taught me something different, but together they taught me one important lesson. There is no way to be fully prepared, but understanding what helps you perform at your best is essential. For years, I have given a presentation to collegiate students titled Embrace Your Uniqueness: Strategies to Launch Your Career. In it, I discussed the best ways to apply for jobs, how to format a resume and the key ingredients to include in it, ways to research a position or company, and tips for preparing for an interview should you be invited. I still give that presentation today. Although much of the content has remained the same, I am constantly updating it and incorporating stories from my own experiences. Here are several key changes you can make to prepare for any stage of the interview process. Key change number 1, know the interview routine. I've learned that some positions begin with screening interviews led by a principal talent acquisition business partner, a senior recruiter, or another human resources professional. Other search processes may move directly into an interview with the hiring manager, while others begin with a panel of people associated with a role or organization. Regardless of which stage of the interview process you're entering, understanding who is leading the interview, who will participate, the purpose of the meeting, and how it will function is essential. You can always ask who will be included in the interview, the intention of each phase of the process, and what steps may follow. You might be surprised by how much information is shared when you simply ask. Also, request the most updated version of the job description. Sometimes they change during the search process. Once you know this information, you can begin preparing more intentionally for every stage of the interview process. For instance, until recently, I didn't realize that a human resources representative might ask during an initial screening interview about your salary expectations, whether you prefer remote, hybrid, or in-person work, and whether you are actively interviewing elsewhere. I always assumed those conversations would come later. Knowing that these questions may come up early allows you to think through your answers in advance, before you're put on the spot. Once you understand the process, the next step is understanding the position itself. Key change number 2, understand the role. Once you know who is involved in the interview and their connection to the position, you can better understand the role and how to communicate your value to that individual or panel of people. Whether the position is with a school system, a company, or a nonprofit organization, study the list of responsibilities, qualifications, and desired experiences. Then, jot down examples that demonstrate how you meet those expectations, where you've applied those skills, and how you could quickly learn a particular responsibility. As you prepare, think of several stories from your professional experiences that demonstrate leadership, problem solving, teamwork, adaptability, and overcoming challenges. Many interview questions can be answered effectively by drawing from a well-prepared example. Preparing these examples ahead of time makes it easier to answer questions confidently and specifically. Understanding the role is important, but understanding the organization is equally valuable. Key change number 3, research the company. Take time to understand the institution, company, or team. Review its website, research its partnerships, and explore its services, products, or offerings. Jot down important key words, its mission statement, motto, or distinguishing features. Look for ways to naturally incorporate those concepts into your interview responses. Doing so demonstrates that you've taken the time to understand the organization and its goals. And don't forget to learn the common acronyms and terminology used within the organization. Knowing the organization is important, but employers are also likely to learn more about you before you ever enter the door. Key change number 4, ensure your online presence is appropriate. Make sure it's positive, accessible, and up to date. Many employers review a candidate's online presence before making a hiring decision. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is current, your accomplishments are highlighted, and your professional experiences accurately reflect your skills and expertise. If you are active on social media, consider sharing content relevant to your profession or the role you're pursuing in the days leading up to an interview. Your online presence should reinforce the story you are telling about yourself during the interview process. Once your professional brand is aligned, it's time to prepare the conversation itself. Key change number 5, construct possible interview questions and answers. Research potential interview questions related to the role. Artificial intelligence can be an excellent tool for this. Not only can it generate likely interview questions, but with the right prompts, it can also provide sample responses that help you refine your language, content, and clarity. Prepare your own answers first, then participate in a mock interview with someone who can provide honest and constructive feedback. Sometimes another perspective can help identify strengths and areas for improvement that you may not notice yourself. Also, prepare thoughtful questions for the interviewers. Remember, an interview is a two-way conversation. Ask about the team culture, expectations for the role, opportunities for growth, or how success will be measured. Strong questions demonstrate curiosity, preparation, and genuine interest in the position. Finally, don't overlook the importance of preparing yourself for the day of the interview. Key change number 6, prepare for the big day. My husband and I are quite different when preparing for an important or stressful event. He understands that by controlling his physical well-being, he can better manage his mental performance. This includes eating well before an interview or presentation, exercising, and getting proper sleep. I certainly see value in that approach. However, I tend to focus more on what I will wear so I feel comfortable and confident. I may also schedule a manicure or have my hair done to help me feel polished and prepared. In addition, I like to do a test drive to the interview location. This helps me understand the route, estimated travel time, anticipate possible traffic delays, and visualize myself succeeding before I even arrive. Make sure you bring water and a snack in case the interview process takes longer than expected. Finally, double check that any materials you plan to bring are packed and ready to go. Before we wrap up, there is one final key change worth mentioning. Key change number 7, follow up, and reflect. Preparation doesn't end when the interview is over. Take a few moments afterward to reflect on what went well, what questions caught you off guard, and what you would do differently next time. Every interview, whether successful or not, provides valuable lessons for future opportunities. If appropriate, send a thoughtful thank you message to those involved in the interview process. This simple gesture reinforces your professionalism, demonstrates your continued interest in the position, and gives you one final opportunity to leave a positive impression. However, I have found that some organizations do not permit interviewers to respond to candidates directly, so don't be surprised if you don't hear back. A lack of response doesn't necessarily mean anything negative. On the other hand, if you do receive a response, it can be an encouraging sign that your message was received and appreciated. The interview process can be stressful. It can bring out emotions you didn't expect and create moments when you feel flustered or uncertain. However, interviews are rarely about finding the perfect candidate. More often, they are about finding the candidate who is prepared, authentic, and able to clearly communicate their value. The more you understand yourself, the role, and the organization, the more confident you feel when the opportunity arrives. If you have yet to do so, go back and listen to the previous episode, number 122, titled Interview Preparation, Communicate Your Value. Together, these two episodes will help ensure that what you want to say is communicated with clarity, confidence, and purpose. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need it. If you'd like more tools and encouragement like this, be sure to subscribe to the Making Key Changes weekly newsletter. You'll find a link in the show notes. And if you're looking for a speaker for an upcoming conference, workshop, or professional development event focused on reflective and confident leadership, I'd love to partner with you. How are we making key changes to prepare for interview success? Thanks for listening. If you haven't done so yet, please consider rating and reviewing the Making Key Changes podcast on the Apple Podcast app. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with others and joining me again next week. In my coming episodes, I'll discuss topics that are most passionate to me, along with things I've been researching or areas of my life I have changed or want to change. You can learn more about me on my website, makingkeychanges.com. Feel free to message me through there or reach out on social media. I'd love to hear from you and learn about what key changes you hope to make.